So do not go to the embassy and tell the consulate that your plan is to waive the J1 visa and transfer to H1B or transfer to any other type of visa in the United States. No, no ma'am, no sir. Do not at any point tell the counselor that that's your intention. Your intention should be to go back home after you have served your 3 or 5 years in the United States. Guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be sharing with you some possible questions you may be asked when you go to the embassy for your J1 visa. I know a lot of you have been getting offers from different sponsors. You're excited. You are now wondering, what will the consulate ask me when I go for my J1 visa interview? Stay tuned to the end of this video where I'll be sharing with you questions they may ask and also answers for those questions. Now guys, if you are still trying to pass your praxis, and I know a lot of teachers outside of the United States are now realizing their opportunity to take their praxis in their own comfort in their own country back home. If you are trying to find study materials for the praxis or any other teacher licensure exam, please note that you can use my code for Studycom to get 30% off your first 3 months. Yes, Study.com offers materials for you to study for these exams. And also, if you're just trying to get some college credits, you can sign up on Study.com. My code is Kicking with Dr. Britton. And yes, you get a discount of 30% off your first 3 months subscription. So remember, Study.com. So please note that the questions you will be asked at your J1 interview is going to be dependent on the country you're in, as well as the officer that is interviewing you. Always go to the website from your home country to find out what the requirements are to get a J1 visa in your country. With that being said, let's go straight into some common questions that you may be asked on your J1 visa interview. Number 1, the purpose of your visit. It is very important for you to know what your purpose is for visiting the United States. And obviously, at this point, if you are going on a J1 visa, you are going for a cultural exchange to work in the United States. I know some J1 sponsors is also for work and travel, which is also working, or you might be going as an au pair, which is also working. You want to know specifically what your J1 will be sponsoring. In most cases, for those who are watching, you might be going to teach. Please note the officer may also ask you why you chose the J1 category. Now you can explain this by letting the officer know that you are interested only in a cultural exchange. You want to go share your culture, learn the American culture, and go back home to your home country. The next question is, who is sponsoring your J1 visa? Now, we know that a lot of companies are sponsoring J1 visas. You must be aware of who's sponsoring your J1 visa and where they are located. So most of the sponsors that are sponsoring J1 visa have some type of office or a state that they work out of. So you want to make sure that the J1 sponsor that is offering you that job, you know where they're located. For example, IAG located in Arizona. So I'm going with IAG, and you can give them a brief synopsis of the program sponsor, where they're located, and who is, the president of that J1 sponsor. They may also ask you the duration of your program, and you're going to tell them just as you were told by the program sponsor. The program duration is for 3 years with intentions or a possibility of extending to 5 years. But currently, you are trying to start that first process 3 years. If they ask you what activities you will be doing, you can explain further. You are going to be teaching. You're going to be sharing your culture with the American classroom. You're planning to take also some of your Jamaican or whichever country you're from, some of the things that you use back home to share in your American classroom. Now, though you were offered a job and you went through all the interview processing and you went through your sponsor and the sponsor knows everything and you are eligible for a J1 visa, the officer may still ask you what qualifications you have to take up this role. Don't hesitate to inform him of your credentials and also your experiences. Another big question they ask, and this is not just for J1 visa, whether you're applying for a H1B or a visitor visa, a big question that most officers will ask is your country's ties. You know they're big on that. They want to know that you have things back home that you're going to want to go back home to. For this question, you want to make sure if you own property in your home country, you bring evidence to show that you own properties. If you have established yourself in your country, maybe you own a business, maybe you are affiliated to some group, or things that's going to show that you definitely will be returning home. You want to show evidence of your ties to your home country. Another home country ties they're asking is that they want to see that you will be able to get a job when you get back to your home country. And I know in some instances you can get a letter from your workplace stating that you have a job when you return home. Some schools or some ministries will do that, but you need to ask. Some will not. But that's another way to show your ties to your home country, that you'll have a job when you return. And this question they might not ask, but these consulate officers know that you should be proficient in English, and so they will be listening in to your responses and listening to the clarity of your English language to see if you meet the requirement for the J1 visa, which is to be proficient in English. They may not ask, but take note that they're listening to your responses and how your English is sounding. If they ask, then you may explain if your first language is English, and if it is not English, then you should walk with evidence of your English test to show that you passed your English test and you're proficient in English. Please note also that you might be asked about your finances and how you will afford this opportunity. Yes, you may not pay any money to your J1 sponsor, but the officer is going to want to know who will be covering your trip, because some J1 sponsors do not. They want to know how much money you have when you land in the United States, because they're trying to get an understanding to see if you will have spending money up until the first paycheck. So they will ask questions about your finances. You can walk with evidence also to show that you have money in your bank account, and yes, you're going to have money to take care of yourself before you get your first paycheck. If they're asking about your travels, you want to explain to them who will be covering your traveling. If you are the one covering your traveling, be confident and tell them that you will be covering your traveling. Show your evidence, as I mentioned earlier, and explain your finances to the officer. As I always say, the officers at the embassies, they're all humans. I know sometimes we're intimidated and we're scared. Now, if you have not liked this video as yet, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with other teachers or others who are going to be interviewed for a J1 visa. Now, before I go any further, I know I've been talking about evidence. Please remember to prepare before your interview day. You should be aware of the things you will need to take to the embassy with you, to include passport size pictures, your DS 2019, your evidence, meaning you're going to bring whatever ties you have to your home country. You want to bring your bank statement. You want to bring your qualifications, also your English proficiency test result. You want to make sure you gather all your evidence, all the documents you would want to believe or even think that the officer is going to ask for, and take those with you. Make a checklist and check them off. Also, you can talk to your program sponsor to find out from them what should you take with you. Also, you can call the U.S. Embassy or send an email to the embassy in your home country to find out the things that you should take with you on your interview. It's always better to be over prepared than under prepared. Take everything you think the officer may ask you for and let him not ask you for it, but don't assume he's not going to ask for it and then you don't have it. Take my advice. But remember to keep eye contact, answer confidently, and make sure you practice different questions so that whatever question they have, you have an answer for that officer. Another question the officer might ask you is about health insurance. You want to make sure to find this information out from your sponsor, what type of insurance you will be getting while you're there working under their program. Most program sponsors, they offer insurance, and they should, so I shouldn't say most, all J1 sponsors should offer some type of health insurance. You want to learn some about that so that you can explain that to the officer if that question arises. So the officer might also ask you, what is your intent in returning back to your home country? You want to make sure you are aware that the J1 program is a cultural exchange program which states that you should return to your home country. So do not go to the embassy and tell the consulate that your plan is to waive the J1 visa and transfer to H1B or transfer to any other type of visa in the United States. No ma'am, no sir. Do not at any point tell the counselor that that's your intention. Your intention should be to go back home after you have served your 3 or 5 years in the United States. The counselor may also ask about your family. If you're married, will your family be traveling with you? In some instances, you may go as a family, but it's rare that you go as a family to the embassy when you go on a J1 program. But if your family will be coming after, they might ask you your intentions for your family. You can explain to the officer that you will be going first, you will be getting settled, and then your family members will be coming shortly after. I did not mention your passport, but I'm sure that everybody is aware that your passport is one of the mandated. It's something that you cannot go to the embassy without. You want to make sure your passport is not expired. It has at least 3 years left before it's expired when you go to the embassy to get your visa stamp. As I mentioned earlier, these are just some questions that you may be asked on your J1 visa interview. If you're watching this video and you have experienced this before and you were asked something that I did not mention now, please put it in the comment section below so that others can see what your question was, and also you can share your response. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and share it with a friend. As I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of questions, a lot of other possible questions that could be asked. You just need to do your research, jot down your questions and your possible answers. Be confident and good luck. You got this. That's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.